All right, live stream starting up. Ooh, there we go. And we're live on YouTube. Hello, everybody. This is showing up kind of weird. It says webinar is now live on YouTube. Okay, sweet. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live broadcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us live on YouTube. And for those of you who are watching later on, also thank you for joining us. So my name is Danny, and I am the lead instructor of this cohort of Actualize Coding Bootcamp, and you're about to see their presentations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what Actualize is. We are a coding bootcamp. We are a 4-month immersive bootcamp, really 3 months of live content where you work one-on-one with instructor and your classmates, and you get a proper education in learning how to code and do full stack web development. And one of the things that I do in my job as a lead instructor role is I get to work with really extremely motivated individuals on a daily basis. I get to work with people who are coming to this boot camp who are, various reasons looking for a career change or just looking to get started in the development industry. But whatever the reason is, everybody that comes here is determined, they're motivated, they're excited, and they're ready to learn. And one of the things about the class that's going to present to you right now that I'm really excited about is these guys have the best mindset. Their mindset is so strong. They overcome hurdles on a daily basis to learn how to develop, which is something that they have never tried to do before. And they're about to show you full stack projects that they built from the ground up using the tools that they learned in the last 4 months. And not only that, but Actualize is actually kind of a part-time boot camp. So a lot of the people who are going to be presenting actually have other jobs, have other responsibilities, have children. And so the fact that they're here presenting these projects and they took this boot camp full on is extremely impressive, and it motivates me on a daily basis. So they've adopted a developer mentality. They have learned how to teach themselves new content, which is the most important thing that I think we teach at Actualize, is we teach people how to teach themselves, how to learn something new. And that's exactly what they've done in the last few months, and they're going to present to you. So before I have them actually present their projects, I'm going to introduce our CEO, Jay, who is the founder CEO of Actualize. He built Actualize. It's based in Chicago, and he built this class from a single class to now multi-classes across the entire US. I'm here in Pacific time, and we have classes in Central time as well, and on the East Coast. So it's very cool that we are now a coast-to-coast thing. And that's all because Jay started this and made it what it is. And not only is he a administrative CEO, but he's also very passionate and involved in the learning of the students. And that's what this company was founded on, is the love of teaching people how to learn and education. And as our logo says, education, or educators first and developers second. So we're all about that education. So I'm going to have Jay just say a few words as the CEO before we begin our presentation. So I'm going to throw it on over to you, Jay.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. I think your introduction of me is going to be longer than what I have to say, but I want to thank everyone who is watching, past, present, and future. Well, I guess not past, but present and future. What you're about to see is the latest graduates of Actualize, their capstone projects. What their capstone projects are individual web applications that they've built from scratch. You're going to see some apps that are ranged from many different topics based on each graduate's personal interests and past experience. Personally, I'm very excited to see their projects. They're always quite impressive. Just want to say, quick, adding on to what Danny said about the students in this class. So anyone who decides that they want to learn to code really demonstrate a great amount of courage, because most people assume that learning to code is akin to learning rocket science. And most people don't just wake up one day and say, yeah, I think I'm going to go to a school that teaches me rocket science. And yeah, I can do that. So the fact that they took this on and they're like, yeah, they all come from, backgrounds completely different for the most part than software engineering. Some are bartenders, some come from the fitness industry. And to be like, no, I'm going to become a software engineer really is testament to, again, their courage and their growth mindset, their ability to just tackle something totally new, even if it can seem daunting. So kudos to them on that. We're really proud of them, really excited to see what their projects are going to be. Before we go into that, I just want to thank our lead instructor, Danny Zagian. She is a fantastic, amazing lead instructor. I was just chatting with some of the grads right before this, and I already know that she's amazing, but they definitely reaffirmed how much they look up to her and how much she was able to facilitate an amazing educational experience and really, in the words of one of them, drag them across the finish line. So really excited to see them. I also want to thank Michael Galippo, our amazing TA. Thank you. And that's all I have to say. I'm really excited to see everyone's capstone project presentations.
Well, thanks so much, Jay. And yes, just to touch on that, Michael Galippo gets some credit too. Awesome TA, and definitely took a little bit of the load off of me. So thank you. And I dragged nobody across the finish line. These guys all sprinted across the finish line with their hands in the air. So I'm very excited to show you their projects. And we are going to begin with the awesome Tate. So Tate, go ahead and take it away. You can share your screen. And you could unmute yourself as well.
Hey everyone, my name is Tate Bignell, and I just completed the boot camp. I think you just basically got the lowdown from Jay and Danny, so I'll skip the beginning. I'm going to demonstrate my capstone project, which is what we have worked on throughout the course of the boot camp. And I learned a great deal, and I'm still learning a great deal. I'm going to first just briefly give you an idea of what the intention of the app was for, and then quickly demonstrate what I was able to accomplish. The idea was to pull weather data from a website that provides it through entering your zip code. You have the option of 2 zip codes, and then the data based on what it returns would also provide you with little tips on how to save resources. So yeah, and that's basically it. So the first screen that I have is
Share your screen.
I'm not sharing. Wow. All right. Sorry about that. Wow. Are we good? Yes. Can you see? No. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on here. There it is. All right. Pardon the technical difficulties. So this is the landing page. You can enter your zip code. I have one entered here. You hit submit, and that provides you with, well, basically these are icons that represent different data, right? So this is the barometric pressure of Berkeley right now, the air pressure, and this is the temperature in Berkeley. I'm sorry, cloud cover. I was not able to change the icons yet. Maybe this is the temperature. Yeah, and this is the humidity in Berkeley. So basically, and I'll get back to the fun little imaging bounce effect in a second. So in addition to that, I created a sign up form, which I have here already filled out, and then you can sign up, and then you can log in, which I have here filled out, and then I'm logged in. Here's my profile, and then when I go to forecast, it pops up. So let's see. I think that this should be like Chicago, yeah. So that's the air pressure. So now a little bit about. Well, first of all, I want to share with you some of the code for this like fancy graphic. It's called D3. It's a library that is pretty in-depth and was very challenging to try and make work. As you can see, I wasn't actually even able to get a bunch of it working, but yeah. So what I really want to share with you is what I got from this course. The architecture of the web in general is something that I've always just been pretty fascinated with, and I would always end with my explanations with kind of like my cadence would go up like with a question mark. When someone would ask me a question, I would kind of be like, I think that's kind of how it works. And through completing this course, I have a pretty firm grasp now on how each component connects, and going forward, I'm very confident that I'm able to gain whatever knowledge I need for any language. And like now, how I would do this differently, knowing what I know now, is I certainly would have done it differently. But this is what I got, and that's my app. If you have any questions, feel free. Oh, I also wanted to say just I think one of the coolest things about software development in general is how everything works, even when it doesn't work. It's like so like the errors, even errors, when you get an error screen, that's a successful version of rendering the result of what you've done. So sometimes when you fail to do something, the computer and the code is actually showing you exactly what it is that you have succeeded at achieving, even though if it's an error, it's a perfect error. So and those errors are access to making it not occur as an error, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I took away a whole lot from this course, and it was well worth my enrollment.
All right, thanks, Tate. So I'm gonna prompt our panelists to ask a few questions. So Jen, if you want to start, if you've got any questions.
Yeah, hi Tate. Thanks for sharing your presentation. A couple questions for you. What was your favorite part of your application?
Yeah, thanks. So that would be probably that was actually something I intended on sharing as well. Is I think one of the most valuable things I took away from the whole course is discovering what really kind of turns me on, what I'm into, and the direction I want to go. And that would be related to data rendering and mapping and modeling. I'm really into illustrating for people things in a way that has it really land for them, that speaks to them in a way that normally they wouldn't be able to get as much from it unless they were able to see it, displayed in some way that they're able to see how it impacts them. So I just like I was really into the D3 stuff. So, I mean, as you can see, I think my app actually suffered a little bit because I was so maybe even stubborn or committed to making this work, as opposed to just like I elected not to use Bootstrap, which is, like a theme that makes it a little bit more user-friendly, standard kind of with modals and whatnot. So yeah, the data rendering would be my answer.
Very cool. I think it's pretty evident that you really care about the data and the detail that you put into this. My second question is, if you're going to continue to work on this, what other features would you like to build into it?
So yeah, the function of okay, so that would probably be, so originally it was going to be depending on the data that was rendered. There were going to be like when you click this, there were going to be pop-ups that were based on the data. So if, for instance, it's going to rain and that, then there would be little tips on ways you can save water locally, or like tell you not to wash your car because it's going to rain, or wash your car and let the rain rinse it, or that sort of thing. And then like even further down the line, there was going to be a component of kind of not like a crowd, a local kind of a like users would be able to connect with each other, and there would be group projects with respect to reducing our carbon footprint in through like saving resources in any way possible. So for instance, it's kind of like there are a lot of apps that have components of this. So but this would be kind of dedicated and focused on saving resources.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, and I'm going to pass it over to Dan if you have a question for Tate.
Hi, Tate. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, great job. I enjoyed your presentation as well. Can I just ask a question about a user can sign in, right?
Sure.
What do they get? Do they get to save their like recent searches?
Yeah.
When you're on the profile.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So I was trying to kind of keep it simple. The original idea was if you liked the tips or whatever, you could basically save like a forecast, or you could pick. Okay, so for instance, let's say the app is in the condition that I envisioned it when I began it, and I would spend days on the coast down south. I would have not a profile so much as a forecast, or like I don't know what I was trying to figure out what I should call it, but like a zip code, basically with a group of settings that specified what I was most interested in. If I'm most interested in saving water or using I'm still in the exploratory phase a little bit, but yeah, basically just if I go there, I know I can save my settings and then I can save the tips.
Yeah, no, that's really great. I mean, that's a pattern you see in almost every web application, right? So it's really great that you dived in and kind of had the idea to start putting that in. And then I'm really impressed that you even tried that D3 library. That for experienced developers, that can be pretty daunting to get in there with all that JavaScript.
Yeah, as you can see, I wasn't even able to find the I tried to change the scale for the legend. I mean, the scale, and like it has scale ordinal, like that there's something called G, which connects all the elements so that you are able to move them. You manipulate them all at the same time, so it kind of binds them, but at the same time you're not able to change them just like outright. So it's incredibly powerful. And I think if you're really interested in data, it's something to keep exploring, because it can really do a lot of stuff. And so just by diving in, getting not being afraid to use it and explore with it, will really help you. So. Yeah, no, that's why it's exciting, actually, because every time that I figure out why I'm not able to do something, it totally makes sense. I was like, oh God, what I could do with it were I to not be just looking to change the text color of the legend. If I wanted to keep all these elements together without modifying, that would the G, I think it's called, was the element is like it binds them all. Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And for the sake of time, I'm actually going to skip Jay. Sorry, Jay. We have like a certain allotment of time for each student. So Jay is not going to be able to ask any questions. But yeah, actually, to just make a slight comment on Tate's ability to use the D3 library, I remember when I was going in to try to help him solve a couple of these issues, he had already, all the things that I was attempting to do, he had already explored down that path. And he had already tried the thing that I was like, well, let's look at this. And he's like, I already went there. And it was actually quite difficult. I helped him yesterday try to figure out this legend issue to get the text to appear white, and it was a monstrosity. So just the fact that he was able to use the D3 library at all, totally a testament. So great job. And I also just realized that I absolutely forgot to introduce our awesome panelists. I would love for you guys to do a short introduction about yourself, just a brief hello, my name is, and here's what I do. So can I have Jen, just introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jen. I graduated from Actualize back in January of 2016, I think it was. And I was in the guinea pig cohort that went through the subsequent apprenticeship program as well. So that kind of sets me back a couple of years. I am now in my second developer job as a full stack engineer at ActiveCampaign. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. She's a working developer. All right. So how about Dan?
Hi, guys. Like Danny said, my name's Dan. And I also went through the Actualize program about 2.5 years ago. And since then, I've had also a couple jobs working as a web developer. My story is pretty similar to what I heard you guys. Just kind of was looking for a career change. And I couldn't be happier. I love it. I love what I do every day. I'm currently working at a law firm. They started like a web development department to try and create some internal tools to help automate a lot of the things that the attorneys are doing here. And it's great. Yeah, I really like it. And it's been a great experience. Thanks.
Awesome. So we have a couple of success stories over here. Thanks, guys, for introing. Sorry, I totally forgot to have you guys introduce yourselves. And thank you, Tate. So our next presenter is Mike. So Mike, go ahead and start your screen share and give us what you got.
All right, everybody can see my screen? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike, and for the past few years, I've worked in the fitness, health, and nutrition fields. And over the years, I'd found that people tend to struggle when it comes to nutrition and kind of understanding the basis of it. So that's what inspired me to develop this app. And as on the landing page, as we go through, it kind of gives you a description of the importance of nutrition for the body, to kind of break it down for people to realize that just counting calories isn't going to get you to your fitness goals or make you feel like how you want to. The actual macro and micronutrients, which are macros, protein, fats, carbohydrates, micronutrients are minerals and vitamins, all play a key role in the development of our bodies. So as you scroll down, let me refresh this page. As you scroll down, the nutritional details is going to give you a description of each macronutrient and micronutrient. These are all the nutritional values that the user will be able to see as they create a membership to this web page. So a user would go to the sign up screen and fill out the information, but for this presentation, I wanted to have data for a user. So I'm just going to go ahead and log into a user that's right. So once you log in, it will take you to the user's My Page, but we're going to jump over to the update profile. So if the user had wanted to update anything on their page, they can go here. They're able to update their name, the username, email, or reset the password. And jumping over to the My Meals page, this page is going to display the meals that the user has created. So this app is based on allowing a user to create a meal, and it's going to break down the nutrient values in that meal for the user so they can see what they're consuming throughout the day. And on this page, there are things I would like to implement. I wasn't able to get the ingredients on there yet, and it's also only showing the last 6 meals that the user has. I want to eventually have it show all the meals and where they can go in and they can edit the meals as well. And then where all the actions happening is on the My Page. So this page takes a little while to load due to a lot of back-end logic going on and API calls. So I'll kind of explain while it's loading. So the user is able to create a meal, and it's going to display the last 3 meals that the user has made. And that it's going to calculate the macronutrients and micronutrients of that user for those total meals for that day. So as you can see, it's showing the total protein, carbohydrates, fats, and all the micronutrients that are in those 3 meals. And then if a user wants to create another meal, they'll go ahead and click here and the modal will pop up. They will go ahead and add in the information for the meal. And as they type this in, if it's in the database, it will populate, but if it's not, it won't. And I'll explain that here in a second. All right. So the user will go ahead and add the meal, save it. And the meal, it takes a little while, like I said, because there's a lot of data being sent back and API calls. The meal will populate here. But I want to go ahead and show you the code of what's going on in the back end. So once the meal is submitted, it's going to create the meal, and then it's going to take the ingredients, which is an array, check through the database for the name of that ingredient. And if it finds it, it'll create data into the join table. But if it doesn't find that ingredient, like the tilapia we just added, it's going to make an API call to the nutritional API. It's going to grab the data for that ingredient and save it in the database, the ingredient name and the API ID. Then it'll create data in the join table. And then for the nutritional value, we go over to the ingredients model, and I had created a method that does another API call, and it grabs the nutritional value for that specific ingredient. And then on the meal model, we I created a model or a method as well to go through the ingredients model, get all of the ingredient, or it's going to loop through each ingredient that's in a meal, add that nutritional value to the ingredient, and then it creates a hash here. And then it'll send it to the front end. And on the front end, I created a method to call the V models to add in, it's going to loop through the last 3 meals and add in the nutrients for each one of those meals to give you a total value for it. And that's pretty much it for the, get my mouse working. That's pretty much it for the app. Like I said, it takes a little while for that to populate. Might need to refresh it. But while we're waiting here, the difficult part I found was there was a lot of logic to this application. And that's something I feel like any beginning developer struggles with. So I was really glad to pick it and to get more of a sturdy foundation on building logic and how to connect it, especially going from the grabbing the data from the back end through those methods, and then figuring out how to display each one of the meals nutrients in here. That method took me a while to figure out, and through some classmates' help and Danny directed me in the right direction, I was able to figure it out, and it was definitely a great experience. And for the future of the app, I want to make a nutritional calculator that will actually break down the user's information based on gender, age, and activity level, because each person or each person's anatomy is built a little bit different. So the base on what they need for the macronutrients is going to be a little bit different. And I want to give them a more detailed concept to see. And like I said, in the My Meals, I'd like to add more detail to that and eventually add more micronutrients into the app. Because the ones I have now are really important ones, but I'd like to get a broader base so people can see how much micronutrients they're really lacking and how to kind of give them a guidance on how to fill those gaps. And that is my application. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, this is awesome. And yes, Mike's app makes a lot of API calls, which is why that page takes a little bit of time to load. So Jen, I'll prompt you first.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Mike. I actually come from a health and nutritional background as well. So this really speaks to my career before I decided to become a developer. I think it's really cool that you put this together. What led you to use the particular API endpoints that you chose? You mentioned that, it's giving you specific nutrients and stuff, but in the future, you'd like to see more and break it down a little bit more granularly. So what led to your decision-making process for what you're using now?
As far as the API call, it was actually really hard to find a database that I didn't have to pay for to use. So it was kind of coming down to finding one that had the specific nutrient values that you could parse through and grab. And actually, something I forgot to mention is with this app, I actually had to implement dummy data because for the nutrients part, because I actually reached my max API calls I could do for the nutrients. And so that's another future thing I would like to implement is instead of grabbing from the API call, because I'm glad I did it this way because it gave me the knowledge of how to access the APIs. But I see how this many API calls can slow the app down, and that's not user-friendly. And having that data in my database will be more structured where I don't have to worry about having a set value of calls for the API.
Very cool. So you showed us that if a nutrient already existed, or I guess an ingredient already existed, it didn't have to make an API call. So does that mean you're already storing all the data in the database that you fetch so that you don't have to call again?
Just the name and the API ID of that ingredient, because I didn't create the database to store the nutrients. I wanted it to calculate on the spot and grab it from the API. So then that once, if it doesn't find it in the database, it'll take that ingredient API ID, go, and I created a parameter to access that ID into the API call, and it'll grab all the nutrients. And then in the model method for the ingredient, it's grabbing, and I parsed through and took all the nutrient values that I wanted.
Cool. Great. Thanks for sharing. It's really awesome.
All right. And Dan.
Yeah, wow, that's really cool. And I think the fact that you're doing all these kind of API calls will really kind of speak to or help you in the future, because more and more web applications now are just becoming a bunch of API calls to managed services or microservices. And it's really just how a lot of modern applications are being built. One thing that can happen is when you're doing these API calls, things can be, JavaScript will be asynchronous, Ruby will be synchronous. Did you get into any trouble, and how'd you work through that with just making sure you were getting the data before the next call could go and run your logic? Did you experience any trouble with that?
Not that I can really recall of any trouble with making the call and getting the data for the next time. The biggest trouble I had, I guess, with it was, like I said, parsing through it and finding the exact ones I wanted, and then implementing the logic for, okay, how am I going to add this data into calculate for the ingredients, and then how am I going to add all of those ingredients, nutrients as a mill. And then once I got that, I got to say the hardest one was the front end. And it was actually pretty similar to the back end stuff, but going from Ruby to JavaScript, it can definitely be very confusing. And so it was kind of hard to understand that. But like Danny has said, going back, looking at the code, and then kind of breaking it down into layman terms really helped me. And then looking back at that code and just talking it out, I was really able to implement it in the front end, and it was a pretty awesome experience. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, but that does answer my question. It's just I sometimes struggle when you're making those calls and you're waiting for data before you execute your next call. But you did a good job explaining that. And thanks for walking through your code too, because as you're showing your app, I'm like, oh wow, I wonder how he's doing all that. And then you really nicely kind of walked us through how you're doing all those calls. So thank you very much.
All right, and Jay, I skipped you last time.
That's fine. Really impressive, Mike. There's definitely a lot of complexity here. I'm curious, I know this is sort of like a very random point, but when you enter the ingredients and those little blue tags came up, like how did you achieve that?
I actually had help from a fellow student. In his app, he had to do something similar. It was, we had to, the logic on that, I'm not 100% clear on. Like, I know vaguely what's going on, but
was it like a library to help with that, or just built into the form? Or
no, it was I can kind of show it to you if you don't mind.
Sure.
So it was just I don't really think you would call it a library. I'll say that I'm glad you brought this up, because this was another part that I was struggling with, and I was able to help. But with the short amount of time, I wanted to dig more into this to understand a little bit more, because this was something that was kind of complex that I wasn't fully grasping on. Like, I knew the basis of what was going on, but not exactly how each thing is working properly.
No, that's fine. But yeah, no, the app is really impressive. There's definitely a lot of complexity with all the API calls and really putting that all together. So really nice job, Mike.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. And I believe you are using the Vue. It is a Vue library to do that dynamic filtering. Yeah. And it's basically a package that's built into Vue that that will help you dynamically select things, and it preloads with tags that you've already got or ingredients you've already got in your database using Axios. We're using Axios Rep Requests to get those from the backend. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next presenter, which is going to be David. You're up.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Okay, cool. All right, so for my project, I essentially made for my Capstone project, I made a very Yelp-like website where people make reviews on items that they can enter into the database. So just the homepage is just really for my reference. It's not like there's not much information on it, but we have a sign-up page right here where you can where you just make your username, email, password, and you could repeat your password and then enter your birthday, and it stores it all. I'm going to do the same thing that Mike did and just log in with a previous account that I have set up that already has some reviews on it, so I could show you guys that. So right when you log in, it takes you to the homepage, and Danny helped me set up a search bar actually where I could, if I was interested in a particular item, I could type in part of the item's name and then just press submit, and then it would take me to the items on the page, have an items list page. And with this items list page, it shows the ratings, the price, the description, and you could actually press on it to see the stars and everyone's reviews of the item. The way that a lot of people would navigate through the website is to go to, if you wanted to go to products and say you were looking for a football product, and you could just press football, and then you could go to an item. And this item, you could sort it by name or the rating as well. This item, you could press on it, and because this account has already created a review for this item, which is this one. No, I'm sorry, it's this one. You could edit your own review. So if you want to edit it to be a higher rating, you could just go and just move the stars over. You could add a picture of the item that you're reviewing. You could also delete your review or cancel, go back to the previous page. But you can edit the review, and then the average rating changes. And I forgot to mention that included with the item show is not only the price or description, but you also have a website, the original website that someone could upload when they create the item, or the Amazon website. And those will just take you to those respective pages. So if we were to go to an item that we didn't review yet, so we want to create a new review, you could just go to an item you haven't reviewed yet, and then at the bottom of the page, it says new review. And it's as simple as making a rating, putting a comment in, and choosing a picture to upload as well. And then you could just submit it, and there's your item right here. And you could edit your review from here. You also have the ability, if you see something wrong with the item, if you see that the price is not correct, you can edit the item, and the information shows up on the screen already. So if I want to make it $9, or if I want to choose a new picture to upload as well, you could just do that, and then that should change the price. Okay, so then if you want to make a new list, so say I don't want a football product, and you want to make a list that is I want to make a new list for kitchen items. You type in the list name that you want, and you could type in what category you want to put under. I want to make a sponge, so I'm going to do a kitchen products, and I'll submit that. You can go back to the products and see it here. And now it's going to be empty. There's no kitchen items in it right now, but you have the ability to create an item. So I have some information that I'm just going to enter into this, enter in right now to create the item. 25. I guess it doesn't need to be all accurate, so I'll just say website.com, amazon.com/sponge. And then I do have an image to upload for a sponge. Shoot, where are you? Yeah. Can make it a review. Very good sponge. And then this will populate your list with the actual item. And it has your review on it as well. So when someone logs in, they want to see everything that they have reviewed, or they just want to see their account in general. They can go to my profile, and it has their name, this is their username, their email, their birth date, and when they've signed up, how many ratings they created. And from this page, they have the ability to look at a specific item just from here. And they could either look at the item, or they could edit their review on this page as well. And it shows like how many stars and the comments that they made. And yeah, that's pretty much it for right now. This app has a lot more work to be done, especially on the front end. I was putting a template on it, but I figured that I would probably delete the template anyways because I wanted to customize it. And I thought that would be a fun and difficult process to do. But I think that Actualize has helped me with Bootstrap, and I am confident that I'd be able to do something like that as well. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that you could edit your profile, and you could change your username or your email and your password. And yeah. And then you could just see that it changed. And that's pretty much it for my project right now. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, David. Also, I like that you reviewed a sponge. Okay, so I'm gonna pass questions over to Jen.
Thanks for sharing, David. I think this is really cool. There's a lot of value in being able to reproduce something that already exists. And I think sometimes that gets lost a little in the translation, saying like, oh, I made a Yelp-like thing, but it's also, you made this thing that you didn't know how to make beforehand. And so that's a really awesome thing to be able to say. I had a question about your search bar. It looked like when you typed in, I think you typed in the word foot, and then it returned a whole bunch of results. Could you explain a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, so we're querying it. So basically, it's going to search my backend API for all items that have a name that has foot within the name. So yeah, we're just going into our backend, and then if it has foot in the beginning, or the end of the name, I could show you the code for it if you'd like. But yeah, it's basically searching the database. If the item has that name, that search within the name, it's going to return all items with that search within the name. Yeah.
Really cool. So if it was something like, well, I'm trying to think what else could have foot, like, I don't know, table foot or something in it, it would still return in your results.
Yes, that is correct. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Great job.
Thank you. Danny helps a lot with that.
He got it. That was actually a toughie because it's in the nav bar. So that actually works on every single page, no matter where you are. We implemented that logic in the nav bar. So it was a little tougher than usual, but it works awesome.
You still managed to knock it out in like 10 minutes, which was crazy. Or you helped me figure it out in 10 minutes, which was,
well, I thought you're good at figuring things out, David. All right, Dan, I'm going to pass it to you.
Oh yeah, thanks for sharing. It's really great. I agree with Jen that understanding how just kind of these web applications that we sometimes take for granted, like understanding the complexity that's actually underneath is really great to know. And kind of on that same path is like, what are you really proud of that you what piece of this are you glad you figured out? Even just like getting like the stars to work and stuff like that. Like, what did you find like most challenging and was like really rewarding?
Okay, the stars were definitely like a difficult process. I think that the things that I got the most reward out of, I don't know if I could point out one in particular, but when I was struggling with something and I needed help and Danny helped me with it, and then that same concept could have been implemented onto another page. I really liked the fact, it felt very good when I was able to take something that we just worked on and tweak the code a little bit, or just kind of like customize it a little bit so it would work on a different page. So yeah, there's a lot of like edits and stuff like that I was just able to, and buttons that I was able to put on multiple pages. And every time I did something by myself after learning it from like the one-on-one talk, I felt really good about myself. Yeah, doing that felt good. Just learning. That's it.
All right, cool. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And Jay, any question?
Yeah, no, David, this is an awesome project. I curious to know, what would you say is like your main takeaway from working on this project in general?
That is a good question. The main takeaway from working on this project, I think that Actualize isn't. It's unfortunately wasn't the only thing I was focused on in the past few weeks. So I think the main takeaway, and the reason I say unfortunately, because it was so much fun working on the project that I just wish I had more time. Like if I could just give something my all that I really appreciate and love working on, it just gave me wisdom in that sense that I really just appreciated working on it. And it made me not settle for less. If I had an idea that I wanted to go for something, then I wanted that. And it's not necessarily stubborn, although it kind of is, but it's also just like computing, like web development is so customizable that if you have an idea in your head, you could really just make it happen. So it's a form of art. So I really appreciated that too. Yeah, I don't know if that answered it.
That's perfect. Awesome job, David. Really impressive.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yes, David is totally true to himself. There were several moments throughout his project where he asked me, what should I do to change this? And I would say, well, why do you want to change it that way? And he'd say, well, I want it to be this way. And I would advise him. I'd say, well, I think it would make more sense to be this way. And David would be like, no, I want to do it this way. It doesn't make much sense. And he had a vision in his head for what he wanted and how he saw it. And he went through with that and he implemented that. So call it stubborn. I think what you said, David, is a better word. Artistic.
Yeah, if it was like something I'd show, if it was something I was releasing to the public, I think your input would have held more there, because I trust you like that. All right.
I think it's great. So I think it turned out perfect.
Thanks. All right. Yeah, you guys are going to be really impressed by Joseph's project.
All right, thanks, David. And I am going to introduce our next presenter, who is the fantastic Joe. Joe, take it away.
Hey guys, thanks for that joint introduction, guys. All right. So when I started off, I originally was really passionate about making a app that would collect bills from roommates, and I since have gotten better roommates, so that was no longer as important. But speaking with Nana and Mike, they shared their passion with fitness and really kind of reinvigorated my drive to start working out and exercising. And I realized the biggest problem I have is motivation and accountability. And also sometimes I just don't know what to do to target certain things. And I realized that there isn't really a app that lets you easily access this knowledge. So what I ended up doing was creating Spark Fitness. And Spark Fitness is basically an app that connects you with like-minded trainers, and you can sign up to study under them or learn under them, work out with them, and they can teach you how to work out, or they can just motivate you to work out, or they just hold you accountable. And that's where this started off. So this is the landing page, general information about it. Like everybody else, there's the sign up page, but I'm gonna a little bit of prompts about what you can get out of this. Professional trainers in your area, you can practice and learn these exercises. And I already have an account seeded, so we might as well just do that one. Yep, that's capped. If I can type, that would be awesome. Oopsie. Let's try that again. But yeah, so you get in, and it brings you to the landing page, which is the main point of this app. It shows you a list of trainers in your area or broader area, and it classifies them based off tags that they have chosen. So I don't know if you can see this very well, but you can see that they all have different tags: calisthenics, this one's got Krav Maga, Pilates, running, Zumba, and these are how you find the trainers that you're looking for. So say you came in and you really want to find a yoga instructor. You can search up here for yoga, and you will find that these two have yoga as their specialty. So it's just, and then you can also, if you see a tag that you want to look for, you can also click that and it'll find it. And so we'll say we got our very own Nana here. You'll meet in a few. We're going to click on him, and he's got a little bit of a bio. He's a man of few words. He gets to the point, do stuff, and it just has more about what he does. You can see he does strength training, HIIT training, cardio, circuit training, weightlifting, and yeah. And so say we want to schedule him. Like, he looks good. He looks like he's intense. He can get us where we need to go. So we're going to schedule him. This comes up, and you can choose a day to schedule, and you can see he has his days off. So let's say that we want to work off that post Thanksgiving meal. Let's go for the 26th, and say we want a noon appointment, and we'll schedule that. So we scheduled that, and it brings us to a list of all the appointments that we have. So you can see that these are some past and future appointments with various trainers. And now, I guess the reason I have two of these apps or these pages open is because Spark isn't just for the users, it's also for the trainers to broaden their business. So we're going to sign in with Nana and show you what happens on his end. All right, so it brings us to your page, and he same page, but his edit page has a little bit more information. You can change the basic information, location. He can put a YouTube link up if he wants the video of his workout to show. He can change his picture if he wants to get a better picture. And then the bio, do stuff, and then do more stuff. And then you'll recognize this. This is the tag list thing, and say he no longer wants to focus on weightlifting. He wants to start doing more. Let's say he's into sprinting. So you can search a list of tags to your preference of what you like to train, and there's a pretty good list. Currently, it's preloaded. We didn't really want to have users implementing their own because there would be a lot of copies and stuff. I just didn't want to manage that. So it's all pre-seeded. It's a pretty good list. So say he wants to sprint, and he now has sprinting saved as his workout tag. Click save, and you can see his bio and his tags are now updated. So the big thing though is he also has an appointment page where you can go manage, and you can see he has an appointment with me for the 26th there, and we're going to click on that. And this brings up, he has an opportunity to recommend some tools that needs to be brought. So he'll say, you need to bring a water bottle, a yoga mat for some reason. Make sure you bring your shoes. That's always important. And I don't know, any good trainer needs Pokeballs, bring Pokeballs. And any preparation advice you'd want to share. So say, we're going to work on your core and cardio. Make sure you sleep well and stretch. I think that's pretty good advice for fitness altogether. And also a prompt for how difficult you think this workout will be. So we'll say it's a 4-star rating. It's gonna make you sore. It's not gonna be the worst, but it'll make you sore. So we'll say it's a 5-star. And save these changes. And then back over here, we can view this appointment, and we'll see that these notes have come through. The notes he's given, today's workout difficulty is going to be 4 stars. Make sure you bring these things. And then down here just reiterates his name, This one right here was something that I never got around to doing, but I wanted to, when selecting appointment, you could choose a focus for that appointment. So I'll just say strength training was the focus, but that's something else that could be done. And Monday, November 16th. And then also you have the chance to edit the appointment if you need to change your time, or if you get scared by that 4 out of 5 star, you can cancel that appointment. Few other things that were in, I didn't show you the first time around. This is just a little bit more information that the trainer can upload if they want to show more of a portfolio about what they offer. You can add basic pictures and stuff like that. And then the link I was talking about, that video, if they upload a video, you have an opportunity to see kind of how they do what they do. We just got some stock footage of this. This is kind of a placeholder for now, but if you needed to ask some questions, you had the option to, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, be like, hey, I have some questions. And do that. And yeah, it's got a basic implementation of like emojis, but that's kind of something that I wanted to bring to across the board that trainers and users can communicate. But there's that for now. And yeah, I think that's basically it. There was a lot to do because I opted to do dual authorization, so not just users but trainers using the same app, and that was a hurdle. It was a lot to do, but I feel like I was happy with how it all came out. And let's see, and yeah.
Sweet, thanks, Joe. All right, Jen.
Thanks for sharing, Joe. This is really cool. It looks like you really took a lot of time and implemented a whole bunch of moving pieces here, which is really great. My first question is, did you and Nana actually collaborate so that he knew you were putting him in this app?
Oh yeah. I told him what was going on, and he insisted.
Okay, good.
He actually inspired a lot of the design, because this trainers page, am I still sharing? Do you guys see everything okay?
Yep.
Okay, this trainers page was a lot more compact and squashed, and he gave me this very, very motivating picture, and it brought out, I realized I really like how it works. So he inspired a little bit of that, and I did it, and he helped me out with the tags too, because although I made a fitness app, I don't know much about fitness. And he shared a lot of these different styles that trainers could choose to give more options so that they weren't just limited to the basics.
Really cool. I think that's also a really great example of collaborative work, and what you'll see, when you start working as a developer, is that you're going to have to take feedback from other people and figure out how to implement it best into your applications. So that's really neat that you already got to experience that. I actually had some questions about that little chat application you had there at the very end. Is that set up, and what are you using to power that?
It's not two-way, and currently it deletes everything upon refresh. So it's more of a placeholder, but it is a plugin. It's a view-based plugin, and it does have fairly easy implementation that I could do something like have the messages saved in a database so that they can render both sides, because I definitely don't feel like I just right where I'm at now have the understanding of how to create a dynamic chat program, but I feel like I could kind of like jerry rig something together to make it work. But as of now, it's kind of just a proof of concept.
Cool. Looks great. I think this is an awesome project. Great work.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to pass on over to Dan now.
Yeah, this looks really great. I'm just kind of impressed, like with all the front end stuff you did. You enjoy working on do you use Vue.js, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Did you use like a template and stuff to kind of help you lay this all out? But still, there's a lot of little tweaks and stuff like that you really probably had to get in there and implement. Looks really good. You said you did have to do dual authentication for the users and the trainers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about a little bit how you did that? Did you make a separate trainer model, or did you extend? Okay.
at the beginning, Danny was a little hesitant about this idea. I think she thought I was getting it over my head because she was thinking it would be a better plan to just kind of keep users and trainers together as one model, especially because there's very little differences in their actual like how they're modeled. But in the end, I felt like it would have been easier just to do two separate models and two separate pages versus trying to split, like do the conditional logic to authorize the two different ones. So it might not have been as clean, but it worked better for my needs.
Yeah, yeah, it looks like it's working great. Yeah, great job.
Thank you.
All right, and Jay.
Yeah, Joe, this is a super impressive app, very robust, lots of features, really impressive. Nice job. What would you say is the most challenging feature of all the different ones that you've done?
I mean, like they were all honestly like pretty challenging. Like once I was able to get over one major feature, it clicked, and I was basically able to implement it everywhere else, kind of like the tags for the trainer's style versus what to bring. But the first time around with almost everything, like getting the appointments to schedule properly, like when that finally worked, I'm pretty sure if I wasn't muted, everybody heard me yell. Like I was like, finally. But I think probably the tags. Yeah, the tags was probably the hardest thing because not only getting it to trainers to be able to just kind of choose what they want and have it display everywhere, but having it make those associations and everything, that was probably the biggest. That was what I spent the most time on, the one feature.
Got it. Well, it paid off. This is a really impressive project. Really nice job, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, just want to give an awesome shout out to Joe for like when he was able to implement something, he was like the first person to be like, oh, I'll help somebody else do the same thing. So he was very helpful to all of his classmates as well. And I think everyone benefited from having him in the classroom. So good job, Joe. Fantastic work. All right. And we're going to go on to my next awesome student. And Will, you're up.
Yeah, Joe is awesome and a very difficult presentation to follow, but I will do my best. Let's see. Hi, welcome to FinBlog. It is a lean machine of user-generated knowledge of the financial sector, inspired by my interest and study of economics, as well as a short stint in the industry. It is intended to be a medium-esque space catered for finance-related topics or a nerd wallet for professionals. So let's dive in. I have a fun little intro that's saying, please sign up. So we are going to go ahead and do that. Jay, I'm going to give you an account.
Nice.
And I like to think that everyone still uses Yahoo. So we're going to do a Yahoo. And see, I have my own information saved. I'm not going to save your information, Jay. And we'll go ahead and log in as myself. From here, it says write some articles. This is an open source space. I do not create any content except for this example. Even without logging in, you can navigate through the page menus. So we'll go here. There's a lot of HTML elements that I wish I had more time to implement, so it doesn't look as pretty as I would like. But we can navigate back to the main page or down to a sub page. So if we click on an article, we can see the image and the author, and the text is displayed with tags. There's conditional logic here to edit the article or delete the article, depending on who the user is. And actually, first, I'm going to create an article so I can demonstrate this. And let's see. There's some text here. And you can select tags. It would be nice if these were modules, but that is, a future implementation. So it would look a little bit prettier. So we post the article and we go to the article show page. And again, we have this conditional logic. We can edit. Again, it was hard to make the edit look exactly the same as the create page, but it works. So we can make an edit and see, and you have to reselect the tags every time. It would be nice to, again, have the tags be pre-selected. But yeah, the edit works. And as much as I hate to delete this, I'll demonstrate it. And this takes you to your user show page, your profile. From here, we can see the articles that you've written. And that is pretty much my app in a nutshell. We can log out and still navigate to various pages. There were a good number of challenges in creating this, fun challenges. They were very fun. Implementing Bootstrap was difficult for me. In one instance, Danny is looking at my screen, and we couldn't figure out why the exact same code on the HTML page, letter for letter, with what was on from the Bootstrap, was letter for letter the same as what was on my Vue.js show page, why it looked completely different. And so we're struggling with this for a while. And then Danny goes, have you tried restarting your server in a while? And sure enough, that worked completely. And Michael, who's a fantastic TA, was always going, just console log it when data wasn't rendering the way I wanted it to. In a lot of instances, I was a lot closer to coding something correctly than I thought. And all of these challenges and experiences, taught me to have more faith in myself. In terms of next steps for my application, I would love to make this a little more finance specific. Right now, in terms of the actual functionality, this could apply to pretty much any topic. But if I had more time and if I was able to focus on this a little more outside of class, I would love to include, maybe stock ticker APIs or a graphical interface on the article show pages so that, users can interact with this in a way that, is specific to their industry. And I want to give a special thanks to Danny, Michael, and everyone in my class. I could feel comfortable going to anyone in my cohort or the instructors if there was any, difficulty along the way. So thank you.
Well, you are so welcome, Will. Thank you for this awesome presentation. And Will is a very, very good student. He was always, like he said, he was always extremely close to figuring something out on his own. And I would just, give him a little nudge in the right direction and be like, oh, I see how this works. And he figures it out right away. So you did a great job with that. Jen, question.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing with us, Will. You mentioned that you had a little trouble with some of the front end stuff, like implementing Bootstrap. What do you think was your favorite part of this? The front end, the back end, doing something special?
I would say I definitely enjoy working with data in the back end. Just thinking about the models, and thinking about future. If I wanted to include an API in my app, thinking about, are there models on my back end where we could maybe save some of that data that's specific to a certain user? And even though Danny kind of nudged me into doing an MVP, which I'm very grateful for, because if I tried to do every little thing that I wanted to do in this app, I don't think in the time I had I would have been able to make it work. I would much rather have something that works and looks respectable for a presentation than a bunch of gibberish. But this is a great foundation to go to my back end and go, make the API calls I want to make. And so I definitely like thinking about the data.
Very cool. And I'm guessing from a financial background too, that data is super important.
Yes, it's very important. And I think I understood the concepts a lot better than I gave myself credit for leading up to the final weeks. And then I just always had to remind myself, it's probably just a minor syntax issue. It's if you are confident in what you've learned, the issues are usually, it doesn't make them any less frustrating, but they're often, you shouldn't punish yourself over the small problems.
Yeah. I think that's a really important thing to remember. Just last week, I had someone pairing with me and I had left off like a comma or something pretty simple. And she was able to find that and everything worked just as we expected. But you'd be amazed at how the problems you're facing now are still the similar situations you'll see in your jobs. Yeah. Great work. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
They will hear me for the rest of their development careers, whispering in their ears, don't forget your commas, tab it in. Yeah.
Read your linter.
Read your linter. Your linter is trying to tell you what to do.
Yes.
Yes, you'll forever hear me.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it now.
Dan.
Hi, Will. Thanks. Thanks for sharing. Great job. Let's see. If you said you were thinking about maybe including an API, some API calls into this, how do you see that working? What kind of call would you use to add to this?
So I looked at a bunch of API libraries, and stock tickers could be useful if you're in markets and wanted to write about use a specific company as an example. Maybe if you had a graphical interface as well, you could save snapshots of that API and have it edit the graph. There's so much stuff. There's so many APIs and data in the finance world. That's just one example that leaps to mind.
Yeah, it's really you're right. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and Jay.
Yeah, this is a really awesome project, Will. Really nice job. You mentioned that right now it could also, serve as potentially as a blog platform for many different topics. Like, how would you make it specific to finance?
Yeah, I think that, like, going back to the API calls, going back to the functionality. I think for any platform where you're sharing knowledge, it's the more functionality you include, the more it gets the flavor of whatever universe you're working. So for Joe's application, for example, I'm sure a lot of the initial functionality doesn't necessarily have to apply to fitness, but once you add the ratings, once you add those little details here and there, I think including finance specific APIs, just giving it more of that flavor.
Got it. Well, really nice job.
Dan.
Yeah, really nice job, and congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for presenting well. And now we are going to go ahead and move to our next presenter, who happens to be our last, but of course not least, Nana.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Yes. My name is Nana, and like I said before, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin area, Janesville specifically, Madison's the market that people know. And I've spent the last 10 years of my life working in fitness. And one of the needs that I've seen in, let's say, the development world or in the corporate world is the fact that people spend a lot of time on computers. They spend a lot of time sitting. They spend a lot of time not doing anything. And I feel there's a need to be able to motivate people to be active, to get up, do something, move, to provide a higher quality of life. But also understand the fact that people don't want to be bothered. People don't want to be nudged. They don't want to be nagged. They don't want to be told what to do. Leave me alone. I'm just doing it. It's good enough for me. I don't need you talking to me. But so I need to figure out a way to hook up, to bring them in, to make them feel that this is something they want to do. So I thought to myself, what can we use? What can I use to help pull people into becoming more active? I thought games. What do we all like to do? Play games, right? Whether it's console games, whether it's computer games, whether it's games you play in the office or whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that I wanted to merge gaming with fitness and put them together. And that's why I created Office Works, okay? To bring those two together to be able to create the atmosphere where people will want to work out, people want to move, and it's intuitive so that people have fun doing it. So let's get started. Let's start with a profile that's already been loaded up here. Well, let's log in right quick. Let's see, let's use Danny. All right, here's Danny right here. All right, she's got our profile page with the goofy hat on. I don't know where she got that from, but it looks cool. And she has a badge. She's the office potato. It means that she's just getting started. She's not really, there yet, but she's working on it. She's got, her saying, and that perfectly describes her. I wouldn't change a thing about that. That's what she is. She's the boss. Level, advanced. Her progress, 16%. All right, but we can also edit this. All right, so we can edit the page. Let's push the button here, edit. Okay. We can choose a file to edit her page. Let's go to recents here. Downloads. Let's find her picture. Danny's in here somewhere. I know that she is. Bam, let's put that in here. Okay. Let's just change and say that sorry, fellas, but the truth hurts, okay? It hurts. I'm sorry, it hurts. Okay, so we can change her rank from advanced to beginner, but I know better, so I'm gonna keep her at advanced. We'll do our password here, pop it in, and we can delete it, but I would never delete Danny out of anything, so we're just gonna edit it, and oh, yep, there she is. New picture, edited with not as my favorite student, and her new image. And wow, Danny, that picture. Damn. All right. So we got her page edited, new picture, no profile, and we can go from there. But let's start by creating a new profile. Okay. So we'll log out real quick. All right. We will log out. Okay. So when we log out, all we have right here is login, sign up. Because if you're not a user, that's all you're gonna get. You don't have access to all the other pages until you log in. So let's sign up as a new person here. And since we got Jay here, let's use Jay too. I wanna use Jay as well. Let's use Jay as well. I think that'd be cool to use Jay. Jay at Gmail. I was gonna use somebody else, but since we got Jay in the room, why not? Let's use Jay. Okay, let's find a picture for Jay. Don't be mad, Jay, because it's just a picture, man. It's just a picture. That's all it is. Don't worry about it. And let's put Jay all day swim girl. Oh, can't even spell. There we go. Let's make him a beginner. You just started. Why not? Okay, put your password in here. Get you going, set up. Log in here. Oops, sorry, Jay. Bam. Ooh, there you go, Jay. Don't mind the picture. Jay went to Hawaii, was on the beach for about 3 weeks and got a little tan, put a perm in his hair, but that's okay. Jay is still killing it. He's doing a great job. He's just started, so he's at badge unpaid intern. He hasn't started, so he's at the beginning, and he's a beginner, zero progress. So when Jay comes in the site and he starts, he goes and pushes daily workout. And guess what he gets? He gets his daily workout. Now, he gets a random workout every time he pushes it. Every time he logs on, he gets a daily workout. And the great thing about it is that these workouts are also paired with a level keys, right? Workout's got a level, Jay's got a level. And those tags create association that therefore unlocks workouts that he can do. These are chair apps. Now, the significance about these workouts that you can do these workouts without even leaving your desk, if need be. You have the knee kicks here, knee sweeps here, knee to elbows, knee raises. You have cycling crunches. You have sitting twists. All these workouts you can do at the comfortable of your own desk. And it's so easy to implement. So here we go. When we get done, push complete. Guess what? Jay's at 3%. And he's growing. He's getting better. He's feeling good about himself. But you asked, well, now you said something about a game. Well, I don't see any gaming components of this game. Well, here we go. So Jay can also go and check where he's at on the leaderboard here. Here's our leaderboard. Employees of the week. We have 14 of them, and these are our leaderboards. And Jay right here with 3% is right here. And his badge name, he's an unpaid intern. He hasn't made any money yet. He's broke, but that's okay because Jay's going to work. He's going to build himself up and start working. So the component of that's going to make it a game is that Jay's going to see that he's behind Susan. He's behind Danny. He's behind Robbie. He's behind Will, who's a warehouse wizard. I mean, this is Dumbledore's apprentice here, because I cannot let this man get ahead of me. I'm Jay. I created this stuff. I run this stuff. So he's going to come back here. He's going to push daily workouts. He's got the stapler. He goes through there, does the workouts, goes through it. There he goes. Gets it. Push complete. Jay's at 6%. He can check himself on leaderboard. Where's he at now? He's still behind Susan. Oh, he can't have that. So Jay's gonna go back to the tanning booth for a little bit. You know what I mean? Work on his tan a little bit more. Come back, jump in his daily workout. Bam, he's got his upper body press. Got the instructions, got the layout, got any time he had to do it. He completes it. Bam, he's at 10%. Jay's not satisfied with his progress because Jay is a worker. He goes back, hits the chair cardio. Here he goes with these workouts here. Feeling himself. He's feeling good. He's looking good. He gets complete. Jay's at 13%. He checks where he's at the leaderboard. And Jay is still behind Susan. Look, I ain't got much time. I got to do some stuff. So I'm going to do one more workout just to make sure I'm at a good, respectable place. And he checks his leaderboard. And he's passed up Susan and Danny. He's in third place. So Jay feels a little better that he is where he is. He wants to get to where Will is, but he feels better. So he takes a break and he logs out. Okay. So that's essentially what Office Works is. It's a fitness app, not necessarily, it's a gaming app that uses fitness as a byproduct. So I want to focus more or less on fitness being a secondary component to my app, but it being a gaming app that brings people in to have fun while being active, motivating a healthier lifestyle, motivating activity, motivating competition, motivating community so that we can get a healthier, more active lifestyle. And so one of the few things I want to implement in the future is that I would like to, on profile page, show the workouts you've done already. Have badges where it actually has images. So if you are Office Potato, it'll probably be a guy in a suit with a potato head on. That'd be an idea. Also, I want to add videos for my workouts. So instead of necessarily doing right here, we can do a video, whether it's me or whether anyone else that I use, a video workout that we can do. And also add more gaming components to it to make it more intuitive, whether XP points, more level ups, more opportunities where people can sit here and have more fun gaming and increasing their lead in the leaderboard quicker. So one of the things I found that was difficult about this was I felt the templating was a little tough because merging my HTML code with the templating was kind of a pain in the butt. Getting things that work and look a certain type of way that I wanted to was kind of hard. But at the end of the day, it was a great challenge because it made me really learn the code even more, understand placement and understand where things, how things look and feel, and how you tinker things around to make them present the way you want them to present. I do want to continue working on this app. I want to make it better. I want to make it more intuitive. I want to make it something that I can show in job interviews or show maybe like a 3-month progress report to Danny, or a 6-month progress report, or a year progress report, or my app is. You know, Actualize has been awesome. I've learned a lot. I mean, I went from not knowing what a terminal was to building a full-fledged application. So for me personally, it has been a life-changing experience. And I want to thank Danny for that. I want to thank students, other students like Mike and Joe, who helped me with the leaderboard here, helped me put together a few components to make it really pop and feel the way I wanted to feel. But yeah, Michael, our TA, who I know sometimes he would be going to sleep and he'd be ready to go to sleep. And I send him a little message, hey, got a minute to answer a question. And every time I would send him a message, he'd always be available to answer questions for me. But this is my app, Office Work, was when you can work while you work.
Awesome. Thank you, Nana. I was doing some like chair twists while you're doing your presentation because you hyped me up so much. So thank you for that. And I'm going to turn it over to Jen for questions.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this. You're clearly very passionate about this, and it's really great to see like how much your eagerness and enthusiasm really translate into the work that you put into this. It's great. Thank you for sharing this. Question about your percentages. So if somebody doesn't do a daily workout, do they backslide? Does it, ever go down instead of up?
No, and that's probably one of the components I want to add later is that kind of if you don't work out, there will be some repercussions for that. You're going to lose, you're going to slide. What will happen that if you don't, you're going to stay the same, and those who work out or use the app are going to pass you in the leaderboards. And one of the things I want to add also is notifications that you're losing, get back on and continue to work because Jay is passing you up, or Will is expanding his lead on you, or Danny updated a new picture and she decided she wanted to go ham on everybody. Like, there's one of those things that I wanted to do to add to the element of gaming to encourage activity. And yeah.
Really cool. And the workouts that you get. So you said you click on daily workout and it gives you a random one depending on like what your badge level currently is, right?
Depending on the level you're at.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're getting beginner workouts, and you can edit those as you do it. You can edit, and one of the things I do implement is let's say an automatic increase in level. Like for example, if you've done 15 workouts, you increase from beginner to intermediate. If you do 20 workouts, you increase from intermediate to advanced. So it's one of the future implementations I want to also see add to it as well.
Okay. Are these workouts that you have stored in your database, or are you getting them from an API? How are they created?
Well, I'm storing them in my database. I got them from there is a website that has these, and what I've done is I've taken them, reformatted them, and added branding components for myself for my app specifically for it. So, and Li's workouts I could create on my own as well, but it was just for time restraints. I decided to just pull something from somewhere else, rebrand them, remake them, add names to them, and put them on my app.
Very cool. Thanks so much. This is really great. I like seeing this.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome. And side note, that photo that you found of me is like 8 years old. So kudos for your internet stalking skills. I have no idea where you found that. All right. And I'm going to pass over to Dan.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you. I love the presentation. I love the application. It's a great job. Yeah. Gamifying is a great way to kind of get people to do this kind of stuff. How do you do the random? How do you get the random, generate the random image?
Well, in my workouts model, what we do is that we created a random model method that every time you clicks on it, it does a random shuffle, a sort, and it just pops in the workouts every time you click on it. So it's like a random sort from a model, a workouts model in the back end.
Cool. And then, so if Jay is an office potato, when does he automatically level up to something new based on his percentage?
Yeah, so what it does is times done. So we created a method called times done. So every time a user and a worker, user and a workout ID create the association when you complete, it creates a times done in the user workout table, okay? And when that gets to, let's say 10, that changes. So every 10, that changes. So if you go from office potato to coffee boy to warehouse wizard to staple spreadsheet warrior, like those type of, so every 10 you level up as your times done increases and creates
Awesome.
a calculated total progress.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Jay.
This is an awesome project, Nana, and I really appreciate your presentation as well. I do have to say that after you pulled up Danny's photo, I was starting to squirm in my seat when you were pulling up mine. I was like, oh no, what is he going to dig up of mine? So I was greatly relieved that it wasn't even me. So thank you. This is a great project. What would you say is the feature you're the most proud of?
So there are two things that I'm actually really proud of. One, like I told that Joseph helped me with this one, is the leaderboard, because I feel like this is the most interactive and the most fun element of my project. And it's the most, I would call, alive part of it, that is continually updating and progressing along. I think this is the most fun part of my project, but I also think that the coolest part from a coding standpoint of my project is this button here is called completed, right? Which does three things all at once. Well, what it does is that it merges it creates the association between users and workouts. Then also creates a user workout ID, but also at the same time creates the progress, implements progress, and also creates the total progress until leveling up with the badges, and then redirects you to your profile page. So from a coding standpoint, that's the most impressive. That little tiny button is the most impressive, most fun thing about my app. But from a functionality standpoint, from just looking and fun, definitely the leaderboard is my favorite aspect of my project.
Awesome, Nana. And I have to say that it looks really sleek too. Just the look and feel is very, very well done. So nice job. Nice job with this project. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yes, this color is very pleasing to my eyes. Nice work, Nana. Thank you so much. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And let's do that. Cool, just for some closing notes. So, oh my gosh, guys, this has been an incredible journey, and you have all individually shown so much growth and progress, and you have something to show for that, which I think is monumentally impressive. And each of you has had your own unique experience going through this program. And I know, everybody has their projects and they're like, this thing isn't working exactly the way that I wanted, right? Everyone feels that way about something, but look at where you've come in just 3 months. Monumentally impressive. Like Nana says, going from not even knowing what the terminal is to 3 months later building a full scale, full stack web application from the ground up is something to be extremely proud of. So I am super proud of all of you, and I know you're all proud of each other and yourselves as well. So thank you guys so much. And Jay, do you have any closing notes you'd like to make, or are you like?
No, just echoing what you said, every project was extremely impressive, and congratulations to all of you.
Yes, congratulations to everybody. And thank you guys so much for anybody who's watching on YouTube Live, watching later on down the line. Thank you guys for watching. And this has been a presentation of Actualize's most recent graduates. So congratulations to all of you all. Everyone's snapping. All right, we're going to shut down the live stream now.